Well, good morning, everybody. Game Time Brian, otherwise known as the Mailman, coming from my mama's basement. I hope everybody's having a good Sunday morning. I just got my coffee. I'm going with an iced coffee this morning. I'm having a hard time, people, with this 53-man roster. My initial thoughts, due to injury, due to a lot of things, who we can get to the practice squad, emergence of young players. It's going to be interesting, but this is going to be my crack at the 53. I haven't looked at anybody else's 53, if anybody's even put a 53 out there. But yeah, this is going to be a difficult one. But I just want to explain a few things before I get into it to people who may not know. We have one player who's on the injured reserve already. He was placed on the injured reserve, so that means he's going to have to be counted on the 53-man roster. That's DeMarvion Overshown. So he's on injured reserve. He's going to be out for the entire year. So I have to account for him as one of my guys. And why you would do that is there's no chance of him coming back this year. So there's going to be a player that I'm going to cut that I will explain who I'm going to bring back. I'm sure there'll be an agreement. It's a very veteran player. I think that's what's going to happen. He'll ultimately be on the 53-man roster, but that's what happens on the IR. Now, there's a short-term and a long-term IR. That is true. But either way, you got to be counted on the 53. So now the difference between that and the pup list is the pup list. I'm not going to read you anything prior to final cuts, but the reserve pup list, okay, basically is players on the list as of the final cut downs must be placed on pup list, released or traded, or you are going to be counted against the 53, which is what I said. IR, you're counted on the 53. The new rule is it went from 6 games to 4 games. So we will get into it as who I think will be put on pup initially, and then we'll have to make roster decisions after week 4, which there's always injuries, unfortunately. That's how it is. Some of these moves, there's a couple guys I really want on the 53. They're my guys. There's one guy that I called at the beginning of training camp. I just don't see how we can get him on the 53, but I think we can get him on the practice squad. So with that being said, I'm going to get into it, and my man Bruce Buffer is going to get us ready. Let's go.
It's time!
All right, it's time. It's time to do my 53-man roster. We're going to start out with the offense, and we're going to go with quarterback. This was a position I originally had us going with 2. I expected us to cut Will Grier, and then bring him back to the practice squad. It's not like he's a young guy. He was out there. That would have been no problem. But since the Trey Lance trade, that is off the table. So, and listen, we all watched the game last night. He balled out. That was a great job. If he would have done that in the preseason and in the first 2 preseason games, maybe we wouldn't have pulled the trigger on Lance. I still think we would have. A talent like Trey Lance, you got to acquire. I don't think that they're going to bring Will Grier back to the practice squad. They already told him he's being released. To me, if he's playing like that, maybe you bring a fourth and you bring it back to the practice squad. But obviously with Trey Lance, we're going with 3 quarterbacks. The number is hard. It's 3. Dak, Cooper Rush, and Trey Lance. Moving on to the running backs, this is one of the areas where we got to go short based on number. We'll get some of these guys back, and this is what we're doing. We're going with 3 running backs. Now, we've done that before, okay? But the running back position is the one position you can get guys back on. Tony Pollard, Deuce Vaughn, and Rico Dowdle. They are going to be your starting 53 on the 53. I'm pretty confident with this. You may be able to keep a fourth running back and only go with 3 tight ends. I don't believe that's going to be the case. I think Ronald Jones, he's going to be suspended for the first 2 games. I think he starts the year on PUP. I don't believe he makes the 53-man roster, or we cut Ronald Jones and bring him back to the practice squad. One of the two. I'm not a mind reader, but Ronald Jones will not make the 53, okay? Hunter Lepke, my man, ran for over 100 yards last night. I really like him. North Dakota State. Played ball with a Trey Lance at North Dakota State. Really like the kid. I fully expect them to be able to get him back to the practice squad. Running backs, everybody likes to keep their own. I'm thinking this year, I don't know that they've ever done it before, but I believe that now with the final cuts all coming down on one day, they should be able to get him back. Malik Davis, I believe, will not be brought back to the practice squad, but who knows? Maybe he will be, but I do have him being cut. That's what I see. They're going to be doing a lot of juggling with the 53-man roster this year. That's how deep we are. It's a good thing that it's a good thing to be a deep team and expected to make a run, which I do. But bad thing is you got to cut some good players. There's no way around it. Wide receiver. I see a lot of people. You're keeping 6 wide receivers. There's no way we can keep 6. Now, you're going to say, well, this guy, that guy. There's a guy on here that I want on our 53, but I just cannot do it based on how this team is. And I'm going to read them off. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks, Kevontae Turpin is on the team, and Jalen Tolbert. Those are your 5 receivers. Jalen Brooks, my guy, he looked good last night. He hasn't stood out in games like he has in practice. I think he's going to be cut. I think you can get him to the practice squad. But listen, if you lose Jalen Brooks, it's a tough one, but he was a 7th round draft pick. If you go back in the 90s, this happened every year. But I think you can get him back. And I have to carry 5 in order for me to do what I want with the rest of the roster. I think we're going to get Houston and Cropper and Drummond to the practice squad. And I think Fehoko is gone. I don't believe we will re-sign him back to the practice squad. He just didn't stand out. He could never take that next step. Wish him well, but Simi Fehoko is gone. Tight end, this is where we could go with 3 and then pick up that 4th running back and keep Lepke. So look out for that. But I'm going with 3 running backs, get Lepke to the practice squad, and we're going to go with 4 tight ends. We're going to go with Ferguson, Schoonmaker, Hendershot, and Sean McKeon. I think Princeton Fant will make it to the practice squad, and we'll keep him. That's it. I'm going with 4. Okay? If it's the opposite, is what it is. I put myself out there. We're going with 4. Offensive line. This helped itself a little bit last night with the Josh Ball injury. Josh Ball hurt his hip. I think Josh Ball starts the year on PUP list. That made it easier for me to do what I want to do. Our O-line, we got our 5 starters. We got Tyron, Tyler, and then Tyler Biotish, Zach Martin, Terrence Steele. Those are our 5. Matt Waletzko, Asim Richards, Matt Farniok, and rookie TJ Bass. They all make the team for a total of 9. Josh Ball to the pup. Edoga is going to be cut, hopefully brought back to the practice squad, as well as Hoffman. They love him at center. There's not any room right now. He will be cut. I think you can bring Hoffman back to the practice squad. We'll see with Lindstrom and Alex Taylor. I think Lindstrom will probably be brought back and Taylor released, but if it's the opposite, either way, they're both not making it, and they're both will be cut. I expect one of them to be brought back alongside of Hoffman for the practice squad. So we're going with 9. So that's a total of 24 players. I'm going to review that real quick. 3 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 5 wide receivers. That's 11 right now. 4 tight ends, 15, 9 offensive linemen. We've went 10 in the past, but we can't do it this year. So that's a total of 24. So that's a little light, but you know how we roll with our defense. So 24 players designated to the 53. I laid out who I thought we can get to our practice squad. Now let's go to the defense. Okay, defense. We're going to start out with D tackle. We're going to go with 4 D tackles. This one, honestly, was the hardest decision I had to make. But I think we can get one of these guys out. This literally, I had to go back and go, where am I going to... I kept coming up with 54. And I have to do this. I don't like it. But we're going with Osa, Odigizua, Mozzie, of course, Jonathan Hankins, and I went with Golston. I went with Golstrid as our 4th D-line. He's very versatile. He's big. He's tall. We cut Bohanna, and I'm already on record saying we cut Gallimore and Isaac Alarcon. Gallimore will not be brought back. We're going to try and trade Gallimore for somebody's tackle, or like, it ain't going to happen. Like I always say, expect a Quentin Bohanna. He was my hardest cut on this team. Expect him to be brought back to the practice squad. I think somebody's going to pick up Gallimore. It is what it is, and I think Isaac Alarcon will also be back on the practice squad because he will be great for scout teams. It's not a bad gig, making close to $300,000. I'm not sure how that works because he is vested, I believe. Now he's not a vested veteran, but I don't think there's any rules. He's only been 3 years. Either way, my D tackles are Osa, Mozzie, Hankins, and Golston. Gallimore and Bohanna are cut. And we bring Bohanna back along with Alarcon. So that was the hardest one. I was trying to find a way to get Bohanna on the team. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it with the numbers. Edge rushers, okay? Edge rushers. We're going to go with 6 edge rushers. You got Parsons, D. Law, Sam Williams, Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler, and Junior Fehoko. Fehoko hasn't done much, but he was a higher draft pick. I like him a lot. The tough cuts here are going to be Wheat and Isaiah Land. I think both you will be able to get to the practice squad. Land's the one guy who flashed enough that I have to hold my breath with, quite frankly. But we're going with 6 there. So we're not going to cut Fehoko. You could tell by who was playing a lot in the last preseason game who was on the bubble. You didn't see much of Fehoko. Dorrance wasn't there. Williams played. Williams needs to play. Wheat and Land get cut and both brought back to the practice squad. Everybody hold your breath on Isaiah Land. I really like the kid, but he's raw. I don't see anybody picking him up now. Everybody loves their own guys. I really like Land. Linebacker, I got them going We have to go with 5 because we're moving Overshown to IR. We're going to go with Leighton Vander Esch, Damone Clark, Devin Harper, Jabril Cox. He made it. Basically, he's going to be our 4. Overshown to IR. Malik Davis is still out. I think he goes to the PUP list, or they cut him and bring him to the practice squad. If I had to guess right now, they probably cut him and then sign him to the practice squad. But if they can't because of injury, they'll PUP him. Expect him to be a part of the mix. Again, I had to go 5. I'll explain who's going to get that Overshown spot. Stay with me, people. It's coming up right now, actually. Cornerback. This one was tough, too. Not going to lie. But I made decisions that I'm going to stick with. Diggs, Gilmore, Bland, Joseph. I know what you're going to say, but hear me out. Eric Scott. I know a lot of people are going to cut Eric Scott and try and get him to the practice squad. They've invested way too much on Eric Scott. They traded a future 5th. They drafted him in the 6th this year, and they traded a 5th next year. He's on the team. They ain't cutting him. Okay? At least I don't believe so. So that's only 5. So my cuts are, Goodwin's going to get cut. C.J. Goodwin, our special teams ace, is going to get cut. But he's the guy. He's a veteran, older guy. He's going to get cut, and he's going to be assigned back to the practice squad. It's a managerial move. He's going to be the guy that's going to take Overshown's spot on the 53. We've lost some special teams guys over the offseason. We need a Kelvin Joseph. He's actually played better as of late. We got to give the kid a little bit of a break. He hasn't played much football. He has played better. I don't believe they're going to cut Eric Scott. We're going to go with 5. Nashawn Wright, he's banged up. I would say he's a PUP candidate, but either way, he can be cut, brought back to the practice squad, like Malik Jefferson. I expect Nashawn Wright to be a part of this team unless somebody else, if we cut him, picks him up. That's the price you have to pay. We're not going to cut Eric Scott. I'm telling you now. Safety. This one was not as tough because of what I did with a Goodwin and the linebackers and the edge rushers. We're going to keep 6 safeties. Just remember, I went only 5 corners, and I only went with 4 linebackers. If you think that we have Overshown counting, he won't be, and we're using his spot with C.J. Goodwin. So as of right now, we only have 4 total linebackers. But my safeties, I went with 6. We got Hooker, Donovan Wilson. Donovan Wilson always plays in the box like a linebacker. Jaron Kearse, same type of player, always plays in the box like a linebacker. So expect those guys to be in the mix. Israel Mukwamu has big-time position flex, played corner at times, which is why he's going to help us all over the place. And Marquise Bell, he was already told he didn't even play last night. Marquise Bell is going to be playing down in the box as well. So that's why I'm going short on linebacker. We have a lot of flex out there. And this next guy, Wanye Thomas, everywhere I read, he's on the team, he's on the team, he's on the team. I know he did good. I would rather keep my running back, or I would rather keep an extra D lineman, Bohannon. But where there's smoke, there's fire, people. Everybody is saying he's making the team. So I got to go with he's making the team. So that's my 6. Hooker, Wilson, Kearse, Mukwamu, Bell, Thomas. Because of the flex, Tyler Coyle is cut. try and get him to the practice squad. So right now, okay, add it up. I got 6 safety, 5 corner, that's 11. I got 5 linebackers, really only 4 because of the, so 6, 5, and 5, that's 16. 6 edge rushers, that's 22. And 4 D tackles, that's 26. So right now we sit at 26 and 24. That's 50. And then we go to our special teams. 1 kicker, Aubrey. 1 punter, Angerer. And 1 long snapper, Trent Sieg. So that's your 53. I don't see it changing very much than that. There's some really hard cuts. Looking back over my 53, the hard cut for me, the real hard cut, Nashawn Wright's a tough cut. I think you can get him back, hopefully. But at the end of the day, it's him or Kelvin Joseph. I think, Joseph is healthy. Wright's not healthy right now. Maybe you put him on PUP, but then you only want to have so many. Because if you put him on PUP, I don't believe you can move him from PUP to the practice squad. You have to move him to the active roster, then make it. That's the problem. You don't want to put too many guys on PUP because that's an issue. So you have to roll the dice with some of these cuts. Just looking back over it, I think Malik Jefferson, he's going to be cut and brought back. I don't think he's going to be pupped. Isaiah Land is a tough cut. They really like Land, but I don't think anybody's very, very young and very, very raw. Bohannon, I'm holding my breath. We can get him back. I think Gallimore's gone, people. I think he's gone. Offensive line, hold my breath that we can get Brock Hoffman back. If you're worried about Brock Hoffman, then he cut T.J. Bass, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm wrong. I'm going to go with what I'm going to go with here. Wide receivers, I'm worried that we're not going to be able to keep Brooks, and somebody will pick him up. But at the end of the day, I'm going to roll the dice there. As much as I like Brooks, we got with the emergence. I was more willing to bring Brooks back earlier because I didn't expect Tolbert to look the way he looked. Tolbert looks phenomenal, people. He really does. And then the 3 running backs. The 3 running backs are tough. We got to hold our breath that we can get Lepke back. Malik, hopefully we can get you back to the practice squad. But there's a lot of roster gymnastics about ready to happen. But let me know what you think in the comments about what I think. That's a lot of these decisions have helped themselves. Hopefully we can get these guys back that I want to get back. But I want to see other people stick their neck out like this. It hurts me to do it, but oh well.
I'm ballsy. I don't take no shit from anyone. I smoke my stogie anywhere I want. I don't have to find a hideout place like you.
Yeah, that's my picks, man. I'm going to stick my neck out there. I don't really care what people think. Let me know what you think, though. But either way, we are literally, what's today's date? We are literally, today's the 28th, 9:34. Wow, it's getting close. We'll be in MetLife 2 weeks from today. I'll be at MetLife Stadium getting ready for, I'll be heading down to North Jersey probably about noon on that day. Check in about 3 p.m., get comfortable, me and my kid, and then we're going over to MetLife for the Giants Cowboys Sunday night football game of the week, because it's, everybody knows that Sunday night football is the game of the week these days. So be there. Make sure you check me out. I'll have definitely some content. I'll probably live stream in with Prime Time and Mark Holmes from the stadium. I got a room because it's a late game. I'm about a little over 2 hours away, but you figure why rush, right? I'll just hang at the stadium, do my post game from the stadium, and then wait for all the traffic to leave, and then we'll head out. I'm only a couple miles down the road, and then stay overnight, and then get up Monday morning and head home. So that's it, people. Let me know what you think about my 53. I know some of you Eagle fans may not know the bottom of our roster. You're not going to get Twiz. You're not getting Marquise Bell. Sorry, he's staying with us. I'll be curious to see what happens with Will Greer as well. Is he going to stay? Are we going to bring him back to the practice squad? Is somebody going to be excited to see what he did? Maybe the Philadelphia Eagles. That would be a twofold. I was thinking. Are you that high on the one kid as a backup? Maybe you bring in Will Greer. You get the look of the playbook. You be the backup quarterback. I don't know. But either way, I'm excited about the season. I'm going to try and join Mark Holmes today at 5 o'clock for a little bit. So I will see everybody on there on his Sunday live stream. I am cooking or smoking 2 pork butts right now for some pulled pork. I'm making pulled pork nachos. I'm doing some pulled pork sandwiches. I'm getting ready to put on some ribs at about 11 o'clock. I'm going to put some ribs on, and then I'm going to smoke some cheesy lump crab meat dip. So I might do a couple shorts on that so you guys can get a look at that. But yeah, some lump crab meat dip. And I got some other food. I got some people coming over. We're having our fantasy football draft tonight. Looking forward to it. But more importantly, I'm looking forward to this season. And I'm looking forward to growing the channel here and on Primetime Phil. And it's going to be a blast. So there's only one more thing to say. I will see all you guys later. Don't forget. How about them Cowboys? Yeah! Take care.